2025 NFL Draft Prospect Profiles. James Pearce Jr., defensive end, outside linebacker from Tennessee. He does drop back into coverage quite a bit. A lot of comparisons to a lot of different players. I'm going to say this is probably more like Micah Parsons than anybody else because of that comparison with the outside linebacker ability. Because of his ability to do multiple things on the edge. He can play wide nine. He can also come in, be right over the tackle. He can power rush past the tackles. He also has a very unique swim move, cross move, chop move. He has gap integrity. He sees the vision of the field very well when his teammates are in there. The defensive tackle's next to him. He can see when a gap opens up. He can move and shift very quickly, get around them. There's a lot to watch on him that is very high level. Those who don't remember, the Bears had an opportunity, actually, to draft Micah Parsons, but we needed a quarterback. Micah Parsons went in the 2021 draft. He played that first year, more outside linebacker, then got moved to defensive end. Since he's had his knuckles in the dirt, he's been one of the very best, most elite. And he's only 245 pounds. So James Pearce right there with him, right at that 243 pounds. A little bit taller, 6'5", 4.49 40 speed. He can be possibly even quicker than that. He's one of only 15 players at any position in all of college football this year that topped 23 miles per hour during a play. When he had an interception, he returned it for a pick six. He topped 23 miles an hour in that. Very well-rounded defensive end. Not number one in anything, but his moves, his ability, and his potential is what makes him a very high prospect. You can see last year, most places had him in the top couple. Number one overall by CBS. I think this stems from last year. It says updated 2.5 of 25, but this is kind of where they had him ranked at the end of last season going into this year. Most consensusly, teams have places, Draft Buzz, PFF, ESPN, PFN, Mock Draft Database, Sports Illustrated, everyone, blah, 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 down the line. Have him between 9 and 16. I've got him top 10 in my big board. We've almost gone through my entire top 10. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears take him at number 10 overall. You can see his tackling grade is 73%. That's the only thing they say he needs to work on. But if you build and develop that tackling for him, if you get him in the weight room and continue to, he's going to fill out a little bit more. He's still young. So as he fills out and he maintains the edge and he fills into that frame a little bit, he could be an absolute monster. So you're drafting integrity with day one pass rush ability with this kid. Overall, 19th best defensive grade for a defensive end, 18th best run defensive grade, so he's not sucking. He's not bad at run defense. He's very quick, so even if he falls behind on a play, he catches up and is always in on it. His pass rush grade, 21st. Overall total, 55 pressures. That's good enough for 8th, but you look at that comparison, 254 pass rush opportunities and 55 pressures. That is extremely elite. You can see here that equates to 1 every 4.6 plays right there. He's third in PRP, that's PFF's pass rush pressure grade, 13.4 PRP grade, and ninth in pass rush win rate at 23.0. So you can see here by this graph. I don't love this graph because true pass set doesn't even matter. You can see if it mattered, it wouldn't be this trajectory for everybody. There'd be outliers up here and down here, but there's not. So really, this is a left to right graph. And this is really just a pass rush win rate graph. That's all this is. Got this off of Twitter. You can see James Pearce Jr. right up there with Abdul Carter, and they have some from last year as well. In the last several years, first-round picks. Nick Bosa, Leatu Latu, Joey Bosa, Chase Young, Chop Robinson, Jared Verse, Abdul Carter, Mike Green, Princely Uman Mielen, Myles Garrett. Those guys right up here. So really it's left to right. And these guys are just elite at winning at the pass rush. They have good moves. And they can beat the offensive tackles, whether they blow them back, which James Pearce does both. He's strong enough that he can push into the offensive tackle and blow them back. He's also has such a wide variety of moves that he can chop them, he can ghost them, he can get around them. His hips flex extremely well. So he's a very well-rounded defensive end that can only get better. I see a very, very high ceiling, but very high floor as well. So that's what makes him worthy of taking him in the top 10. And one thing that happens every single year, you see this happen, character concerns. They say there's character concerns on James Pearce. Now, there's a couple players like this. James Pearce, Abdul Carter beat up a tow truck driver. Walter Nolan potentially has character concerns. Mike Green potentially has character concerns. I'm not going to comment on that because I have no idea, but that is the rumor that's going around, so I'm going to post it here. James Pearce reportedly has several character issues that are causing some teams to contemplate crossing him off their board. One NFL executive reportedly believes Pearce is lazy and has a lot of attitude concerns, which is causing his stock to drop. However, the views are mixed on Pearce, as one NFL GM reportedly believes Pearce is worthy of a top 10 pick and is a clone of Von Miller. Pearce put up monster numbers across the season at Tennessee, tallying 113 pressures, 23 sacks, 15 hits, 75 quarterback hurries. That's over 3 seasons. One NFL scout says that the interview portion of the Combine will be crucial for Pearce's stock, which is why I saved him for right when the Combine was beginning. Now that I've given you my analysis, as I like to do, I go to the scouting report. This one's from the SEC. This is from Wyatt Brooks. He says, Pearce profiles as an immediate impact pass rush specialist with the ceiling to develop into a complete 3-down edge rusher. His elite get-off and bend profile perfectly for today's pass-happy NFL, where his ability to threaten the edge will command attention from day one. Smart defensive coordinators will initially deploy him in obvious passing situations while developing his run defense, similar to how Brian Burns was used early in his career. The team that drafts Pearce will be getting a scheme-versatile rusher who can excel in both odd and even fronts. His skill set particularly suits aggressive 3-4 schemes where he can be moved around pre-snap and unleashed from wider alignments, and he did. He lined up several different places on the defensive line, from wide 9 to 7, over the tackle, several different spots. So while he'll need to add functional strength to become a complete edge defender, his current pass rush toolkit and room for physical development make him potential cornerstone piece for any defense seeking their next alpha rusher. Pro offenses will force Pearce to develop quickly against the run, but his combination of length, explosiveness, and technical refinement suggests he's capable of making the necessary adjustments. His elite athletic traits and proven production against SEC competition point toward a high-ceiling prospect who could emerge as one of the league's premier young pass rushers by his second season. Expect him to make an immediate impact as a designated pass rusher while growing into an every-down force as his frame fills out. With the cutting of DeMarcus Walker, I wouldn't be shocked if we bring in another vet just on a shorter contract. Do exactly what they're talking about, bringing him in on pass rush sets where he has a 23% pass rush win rate in college, one of the highest. Give him an opportunity to just pin his ears back and go after the quarterback, but then develop his rush game as he continues to develop in the league. There's always a hard time managing and curbing expectations on defensive ends when you draft them high in the draft. Even when we drafted Austin Booker last year, a lot of people had high expectations on him, but I said from the very beginning, he's developmental. He's not at Pearce's level by any means. Very similar style of player where you want to get, that pass rush ability at the beginning. I think the Bears did a good job mixing him in just enough last year. I would expect James Pearce to be mixed in a lot more than Austin Booker was if we drafted him. I'm just not sold that that's what we'll go at the top of this draft, is that edge rusher support. Of course, it's all going to be determined by what we do in free agency. How we attack free agency and what happens there is where we're going to be able to see things come together for the draft. But James Pearce is definitely someone to keep an eye on. Now, his strengths, according to the scouting reports for him, they start with he is out right off the bat. There's so many plays where tackles can't even keep up with him because they don't know what's going on yet because he's so quick off the ball. So his get-off is extremely elite. He possesses remarkable bend and ankle flex when turning the corner, consistently getting hip-to-hip with tackles before reducing his surface area to flatten to the quarterback. He demonstrates advanced hand usage for his experience level, particularly with his signature rip move that pairs perfectly with his speed rush. He shows natural instincts as a pass rusher, setting up tackles with subtle stance variations and timing jumps that create pre-snap advantages. He exhibits excellent spatial awareness when working line games, maintaining rush integrity while seamlessly exchanging gaps with teammates. And that's what I was talking about when he's in on a play, even if he's already burst off the line, he can see what's happening around him. He can see if a gap opens up, and he's able to move between that very well. He's got a very high football IQ. He brings devastating closing speed to finish plays, routinely turning pressure into sacks once he breaks containment. He flashes impressive change of direction ability when countering inside, forcing tackles to respect his two-way go. And, of course, at the end, they say high football IQ with his ability to diagnose screen plays and adjust his pass rush path accordingly. So, I'm high on James Pearce Jr. I would not be shocked one bit if the Bears take him at number 10 overall. I also won't be shocked if we don't take him at number 10 overall. He's one of those blue chip prospects that you want on your team. It just depends on what the needs will be there when we hit number 10, and if Ryan Poles decides to trade down for more, capital. Well, there's so many things coming up, but it's going to be fun to watch him at the combine. I'm interested to see if he does a quicker 40 than 4.49, even though that's not the most important thing. His 10-yard speed is going to be probably the very best, if not one of the very best out of this entire class. So with your defensive ends, you watch the 40 speed is good, but watching their 10-yard speed and their 20-yard split, those are probably more important for your defensive ends as they're timing these things in the combine. So, of course, we'll update those things as the combine goes along. But I really like James Pearce Jr. I won't be shocked one bit if the Bears go ahead and select him at the very top of this draft. We'll see what happens because a lot of needs for this team. We'll see if they end up going defensive end, defensive tackle, offensive line, running back. Who knows? But we'll keep you updated. Until next time, James Pearce Jr., defensive end, offensive or outside linebacker, 2025 NFL Draft Prospect Profile. If you haven't hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, Da Bears and Bear Down.